So, I did a series similar to this a little more than a year ago, but I got burned out. Trying to group all of these into one video just took too long, and I like the idea of just doing individual teams more. With that said, some of these have been created already. However, I may change my mind, and some might be different. Plus, I'll actually be providing more details since I can cover these teams on a more individualized basis. Anywho, I asked you guys on a community post about monotype teams, and you guys delivered, throwing in a ton of suggestions. This one seemed fun to me and challenging, so we're starting off with Pokemon Emerald Dark types only. Dark being special in Gen 3 is a double-edged sword, because some Pokemon excel because of this, while others tend to suffer. And since we have limited options for Dark types available, this will definitely be a challenge. Some notable gym leaders that will pose a challenge will definitely be Watson and maybe even Flannery, so I'll try my best to come up with strats using the resources I have. Also, I'd like to make these into a weekly series, so be sure to let me know which game and typing you want to see next down in the comment section below. For example, best team for Kanto, water types only. The comment with the most upvotes will be considered the winner. Real quick though, before we start, I just wanted to shout out my lo-fi channel, Luna's World, where I'm using lo-fi to write a certain story involving this character on screen. I'm also currently streaming on Twitch again. You can find me late at night, 9 PM PST, Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. Other nights may vary. I'm currently playing through Pokemon Platinum. I will leave links for both of those down in the description below. So clearly, we have to drop our starter. I would recommend starting with Mudkip though, that way the rival chooses Trico. In my opinion, I think this should be easier. Poochyena will be the first dark type we will be picking up. It can be found right at the beginning of the game and evolves into Mightyena at level 18. This is one of these mons that is going to suffer because of dark being special. And trust me, it's not very pretty. Mightyena has a base 60 special attack. The moves that are available are a tad shallow, but for the earlier gens of Pokemon, this is to be expected. Bite/Crunch, Dig, Iron Tail, and the last move is your choice. Next up, we have a temporary mon being Seedot, which will be evolved in the Nuzleaf at level 14 and will later on be ditched. Seedot/Nuzleaf will be handy for taking on Roxanne, and will play a part in taking on Watson. It pains me to say this, but Nuzleaf will need Rock Smash to be effective against Watson. It will resist his electrics, and will be able to drop Magneton's defenses. I would also use the Rock Tomb TM to drop Manectric's speed, so in case it goes down, other members will be able to come in and take it out. For Flannery, I guess spam Rock Smash on Torkoal to drop its defense, so Mightyena can pull super effective damage off using Dig. Dig will also come in handy against Norman with his Slaking. Truant definitely comes in clutch here. Anywho, I'll get in the Nuzleaf's replacement a little later on in the video. It might be pretty obvious though. On Dewford Island, you're going to want to head over to Granite Cave to pick up the Dark and Ghost type, Sableye. Sableye is going to be a hard counter to Brawly, having an outright immunity to his fighting types. I don't particularly have anything good to say about Sableye, other than its typing. Aside from that, its move pool is shallow, but it actually has a niche that might prove to be useful. The moves Sableye has are Nightshade, which it gets when caught, Shadow Ball level 41, Feint Attack level 29, and Psychic, which can be bought as a TM at the Mauville Game Corner. Nightshade can be useful when it comes to chipping down HP, considering it does damage based on the user's level. If you don't like using Psychic, Toxic can also be pretty useful. You can pick that up in the Fiery Path behind a Strength Boulder as a TM. After Norman, the second half of the team starts with Sharpedo. In my opinion, this member could be the MVP, as its move pool is probably the most useful given its stats. Base 95 in speed and special attack, plus 120 in physical attack, this will be extremely handy. Carvanha can be captured on Route 118 after obtaining the Good Rod, and can later evolve into Sharpedo at level 30. Pretty solid stuff. Sharpedo's moveset is Surf, which is an HM, Crunch, which can be learned at a whopping level 22, that's goated, Ice Beam can be found at the abandoned ship, and Earthquake can be found at the seafloor cavern. This mon has the best moveset on the entire team, and will definitely be one of the heaviest hitters this team is going to have. Nuzleaf's replacement mon if it wasn't obvious enough, was going to be Cacturn. But after double checking and realizing that Shiftry actually has base 90 special attack and not lower like I had originally thought, Cacturn is fun and it does have 115 in both attacking stats, but its speed is very subpar. When Cacnea is caught also, you have to take time to level it up so it catches up with the rest of the team. And from past personal experience, it's kind of a chore. Seedot can be obtained right at the beginning of the game, so you have it longer. It evolves in the Nuzleaf at level 14, and later in the Shiftry via a Leaf Stone, which you can obtain on Route 119 after doing some surfing. Shiftry's Grass Stab may be lacking, with its best option being the Giga Drain TM you get later in the game, but I think its stats and early game availability make up for it. The rest of the move pool, you actually have some room to work with. Speaking of, Giga Drain, Rock Tomb, Feint Attack, and the last move is up to you, because I feel the remaining TMs we have would be better on the other team members. I will say, Facade can be fun though. At the penultimate spot, we got another Water Dark type, being Crawdaunt. It's more of a physical attacker, but surprisingly, its special attack isn't complete Pelipper Water like you would expect. Base 90 is actually decent. The only downside about Crawdaunt is its speed, but that doesn't mean it won't hit hard if it survives some hits. Also, if it weren't for limited options, we would not have 2 Dark Water types. The moveset chosen for Crawdaunt could be better, but due to limited TMs, I did my best. Surf, which is given to you after beating Norman. Sludge Bomb, which is located on Dewford after beating Norman. Strength, given to you as an HM after having the rock smashed in Rust Turf Tunnel. And Brick Break, which can be found in Pseudopolis City. Ice Beam can also be an option for you if you don't mind spending more money at the lovely Mauville Game Corner. But I personally consider that tedious, especially when you already have Sharpedo. Lastly, is a member I'm going to assume the majority of you guys have used multiple times, Absol. I've used Absol so many times in Gen 3 playthroughs, I've lost count. Unfortunately, Absol falls victim to the Dark type being special, but it can be caught near the mid to late game on Route 120. Absol also has a base 130 attack stat, which goes along very well with Ghost type being physical in this gen. I always have fun using Absol against Tate and Liza with Shadow Ball. Speaking of which, its moveset is going to consist of Shadow Ball, Aerial Ace, your choice of either Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, or Flamethrower, and Return. Shadow Ball can be found as a TM on Mount Pyre. T-Bolt can be found by clearing out New Mauville and talking to Watson after you do it. Flamethrower and Ice Beam can be bought at the Game Corner, and Return can be found in Pacific Locktown. In my opinion, Absol will be the best mon on the team that take advantage of Return due to its 130 attack. Slash also works if you want to try going for crits. Swords Dance can surprisingly be fun too if you want to set up. Absol has a plethora of things you can do with it, so feel free to experiment. Well, that's going to wrap up this challenging and limiting team. I also want to say this team should be effective in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, due to having better movesets, and of course the physical special split being in play. I also don't think I can really be criticized for this team, because we're limited to the options we have. Be sure to also let me know which game and typing you want to see next. Example, best team for Kanto water types only. The comment with the most upvotes will be considered the winner.